Welcome, boils and ghouls, to Season 5 extravaganza of the Cryptique Podcast. My name's Kenny. I'm here with my co-host, Godden, and together we're here to watch and review every horrific, often hilarious episode of the legendary HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. And today we're joined by Iron Sabbath. He's a longtime listener and commenter of our podcast. Hi, Iron.
Yeah, didn't I do this before at one point? I don't know. I think I might have gotten buried and you guys just exhumed the corpse.
Oh, you have definitely been on our podcast before, and you have been a welcome guest. I think that still remains our most highly commented video.
I hope it was the meatloaf puns that did it, but you know.
It was the meatloaf. Hey, how funny that you were on episode with Meatloaf, and then today you're on an episode starring Roger Daltrey of The Who.
Right. Yeah. I seem to have this thing where I come on episodes where there's musicians, right? So that's kind of just a little happenstance there.
Yeah. It's just so we didn't plan for that, by the way. It just happened to be that. It's pretty cool. Well,
we kind of planned for it. When we were first talking about this and getting kind of like, hey, I want to come on for a guest spot. I think this was like one of my top ones I wanted to be involved with.
Yeah,
and there's a pretty good reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have like a list of episodes that you were willing to be part of, and then it kind of worked out where this episode was the second episode that you'd be part of. But we didn't plan for that, knowing that it was going to be the musicianship behind it. It was just kind of a coincidence.
No, we didn't at all.
Kind of a fun coincidence. Well, welcome back, Iron. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, and congrats on 1 year, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, what a milestone to reach, and it's something that we, if anything, it just speaks to our persistence.
I mean, you're at season 5 now, right? You're almost at the home stretch, really. There's 2 more after this, and in my opinion, this is the best season of them all. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you say that, but I'm also not glad to hear you say that we have 2 more seasons of trash to go through.
Well, it's not all trash. There's some like season 7 gets a lot of unnecessary hate, I think. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's in England and it can be a bit off-putting, but there's some real gems in there as well. Same with season 6, even though season 6 has some of my most hated episodes as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to diving into those seasons with an open mind and without any bias. Like I don't have a reason to hate on it. I want to like it. Every episode I watch, I want to like it. And for the most part, honestly, I think I do. Even the episodes that we complain about, I enjoy. There's only a very small handful of episodes we watch where I'm like actively not enjoying it. Even the ones that I kind of complain about, I mostly enjoy.
Unfortunately, there are some in 6 that I just want nothing to do with. But I mean, Tales from the Crypt is just fun regardless, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I'll tell you what. Wouldn't it be fun? Because this episode and the last episode you're on, you handpicked. What if when we have you on again, we have you on for an episode that you just hate? We'll have you on for an episode that you just can't stand.
I mean, if you want, I can tell you the 2 that I can't stand in season 6. I mean, I have a ball for it if you want me to rip it apart. Sure.
Oh my gosh, we'll get there when we get there. Let's think about that though. All right. Well, so like I said, this episode. Oh no! Before we get into the episode, I just wanted to throw some information out there. Disclaimer, we are not experts. We're just a group of friends who get together on the weekly to talk about a show that we love, Godden and I. Okay. Godden, by the way, how are you? I didn't mean to skip totally over you.
It's okay. We have our guests. They're important. I'll be here the next episodes and the future episodes.
Godden's important as well.
No,
Come
Godden,
on now.
You're very important to me.
Okay, fine. I've been good. I'm excited to talk about this episode. I remember the first time we first saw this together, and I really was just shocked that Steve Buscemi was in this. So I was like, oh, yeah, I know this exact episode now. We're reviewing it.
Yeah, so I'm also a fan.
I've been
Steve
waiting
Buscemi.
So long for you 2 to see this for very different reasons.
Good. So, okay, yeah. Disclaimer: we're not experts. We're just a couple of friends getting together on the weekly to talk about a show that we really enjoy. These are our opinions that we're going to be sharing about the show. We might miss some things. We might have a different opinion than you. That's where the comments come in. We also would like to build a community here. So if you have something in addition that you'd like to share that's more thorough than what we did, or if there's something that you want to say just in general about the podcast, let us know down below. We got a lot of friendly people down there. Iron's one of them. So Iron will respond to your comments down below as well. So let us know what you think. And finally, spoiler warning, we are going to go into great detail about this episode as well as the twists. So make sure to watch it on your own before watching this, if you care about that kind of stuff. If not, then whatever. I know plenty of people, by the way, who just love to be spoiled. They'll just go and they'll watch the spoiler reviews and they'll be like, whatever, who cares? Like, if that's you, that's fine. Go for it. But if you don't want to, just know that we're going to spoil it. So what are we spoiling, by the way? Well, we're getting ready to dive into Season 5, Episode 3. This is the third episode of the season premiere of Season 5. So this is our last episode that we're premiering today, and then you'll have to wait a full week before you can get more episodes. That episode, by the way, is Forever Ambergris. It premiered, along with the other two, October 2nd, 1993, and it comes to us from Tales from the Crypt. So I like these Tales from the Crypt episodes, by the way. And whenever I see that in the beginning, I'm always excited about Tales from the Crypt. And like we said, this stars Steve Buscemi as well as Roger, not Jason Statham, Daltrey. So
I still can't believe you got them mixed up.
You know what? And it happened. God, the first time we watched this together, I thought it was Jason Statham. I don't know if you remember that, but we watched this together a long time ago. And I remember, I think I said to you, I can't believe Jason Statham had that much hair. And then when I watched it again today, or not today, but when I watched it again for this review today, I said, I can't believe Jason Statham had that much hair. It looks like
I don't see the resemblance. I don't see the resemblance at all.
Oh, it's because he has hair, I think. Cover up his hair and you'll see it. Anyway,
no. If you don't know who Roger Daltrey is, he's the lead singer of The Who, which is why we were getting into that whole musician thing.
Oh, that's right. We forgot to mention that part. He's also a musician who is a singer for The Who. So let us see what the back of the DVD box set synopsis says. Inked in blood, bound in human flesh here for Forever Ambergris. Two war photographers love the same woman. Wait till you see how this picture develops.
Oh, that's funny.
That's actually kind of cool. I like that one.
Yeah, that was all right. Well, as you know, we here at the Cryptique Podcast, especially me, thinks that the back of the DVD box set is just too small. Well, today, I'm taking a break from writing the synopsis. Iron Sabbath took it upon himself to write a synopsis. So, Iron, lay it on us. What is the synopsis?
All right, here we go. Dalton Scott is a jaded has-been war photographer who is consistently upstaged by his younger protege, Ike Forte. When Dalton gets jealous of Ike's success and his relationship with the beautiful Bobbi, Dalton becomes envious of Ike. Soon, Dalton and Ike go on a mission to photograph mercenaries at war in Central America. On the way to the village, Dalton hears about a deadly virus caused by germ warfare being covered up by the government in a small village called Vamalera. When he gaslights Ike into going to the village to get photographs, Ike is horrifically ravaged by the disease, and Dalton promises to take the photos and Bobbi for himself. Little does Dalton know, this would soon lead to gruesome consequences.
Ooh. Wow, what a thorough description.
Yeah, but you know what? Godden likes to give descriptions too, right?
Yeah, Godden thinks that the back of the DVD box set's too long.
So is mine, actually.
I wouldn't call yours too long. It's thorough, though. It is thorough.
I tried to be thorough.
I gave everything away. I can't.
Well, I mean, you don't know what happens to him at the end yet.
That's fair. Yeah, so mine's short and simple because I don't know. I don't like the title as much because it didn't really make sense to me. Well, you know, the whole ambergris because. Oh, actually, never mind. Maybe it's incense. Maybe that's the only connection I can make for it. But even then, I don't know why that's the title they chose. But mine is just it's short and simple. Mine is just wartime voyeurism. That's all it is.
You know what? I was actually going to touch on that too. Yeah, he's a bit of a peeping Tom.
Yeah,
I like, and they address that. They address that too in the show, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
So, going back to the topic, you mentioned the title really makes no sense, and yeah, it doesn't. But I kind of wanted to touch on that a bit and kind of give like some backstory about why it's called that. So as you said, this episode's based on a story in Tales from the Crypt, and the story in Tales from the Crypt actually involves like a whaling boat, and there actually is a whale involved in that comic, and ambergris is like whale secretions that they use to make perfume.
Mm-hmm.
And the story basically involves like this guy who's on this boat, and he's kind of like a first mate, and then the captain has this beautiful wife, which is kind of like where we are with Bobbi. But it actually is a lot different in that in the comic, the lady actually wants to cheat on the husband. I will say though, this episode has like a lot of similarities when it comes to like what happens with the husband, which is kind of neat. But yeah, that's the reason it's called Forever Evergreen. The show had to use titles of the comics, but they could pretty much do whatever they wanted with the story. But there was like rules that they had to use the title of the comic.
Yeah, that's interesting that they would care so much to make you use the title from the comic, but they wouldn't care so much about making it make sense. Like, because Ambergris does give
later on, it ggets even worse.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh really?
Forward to that.
Yeah.
So Ambergris does have to do with those whale, like they cough it up, right? Like they cough it up, and then there's like these white whatevers, and then they extract something from it to make some sort of perfume out of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so general thoughts before we dive in. General thoughts. Iron, obviously you love this episode. This is one that you kind of handpicked to be part of. One of your favorites. Godden, what are your general thoughts of the episode?
It's a tough contender for me for the premiere, honestly, when we get to the rankings. So it's pretty high up there now, after rewatching it. I'm pretty biased when it comes to war and guns, so I definitely gravitated towards this episode a lot more for the season. So yeah, I'm kind of excited what else could, compete with this episode down the line. Yeah.
And I like this episode too a lot. There's a lot of gore in it, so I'm definitely a fan of that. I did learn something about watching this episode because of the fact it comes so highly recommended by Iron. I knew I was in for a treat. But watching it, I realized how much comedy means to me in these episodes. There's not any sort of levity or comedy in this, and that did hinder it for me. It's not a perfect episode for that reason. So I do have a slight quibble with it, with the fact that it just is so serious. So I would have liked to have seen some comedy, or maybe even kind of a silly, goofy character in there somewhere, just to kind of I think if you kind of have something that's silly in there, it kind of highlights the horror in a way that I find very amusing. And Iron, by the way, I didn't mean to speak on your behalf. Did you have something specifically you wanted to share about this episode, about your general thoughts?
Well, yeah, we'll get more towards that at the end. I've got, a few stories about why I love this so much and kind of things like that. But I just want to touch on something. We've heard Kenny all along, with all their season long, with all these episodes, go, this wasn't gory enough. Wasn't horrific enough. And then I show him one where literally the gore is like in your face, like, oh my God. he's not satisfied.
That's why I knew while I was watching it, I knew that this is exactly what Iron was referring to when he said, oh, you're going to love this, you're going to love this. I knew exactly what you meant. But even still, I just found myself a little not completely satiated. And I think that's why I'm realizing how much the comedy really means to me. Even an episode like Corman's Calamity, which didn't really go over the top with gore, but it went there with the comedy. And I just found I give that episode a 5. I just found it endlessly amusing. So yeah, I guess I'm learning that about myself. I love the gore. I love the practical effects. That means a lot to me too. But I just think that little bit of levity in there is really what makes it, ring true to be a true quintessential Tales from the Crypt experience. So I'm realizing that about myself. It took 5 seasons to get there, but here we are.
See, I love the darker episodes, so.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Okay, yeah, like what was that one? The one I keep referring to whenever I think about this is the Three's a Crowd.
Yeah.
That was a good. It wasn't super gory, but it was a good story. I felt it had a great twist, but just the fact that it was so dark the whole way through, I just found it kind of almost like an exhausting watch. So the Crypt Keeper intro, he's peeling the eye out of a fish, And he puts it onto, I think he puts it onto a camera or something. He goes, yes, I think the fisheye lens will do fine. Greetings, fashion fiends. So glad you could join me. Bet you didn't know your pal the Crypt Keeper dabbled in photography. I just love winding a few rolls of Kodachrome into my camera, turning on the old fright meter, and snapping off a few headshots. Tonight's putrid picture is sure to increase your shutter speed. It's about a photographer who's losing his touch and would do almost anything to get it back. Did I say almost? I call this sickening snapshot Forever Ambergris. I thought that was great. We had some camera alliterations in there, some camera references, so definitely referencing photography. I didn't notice anything that was war related though in his intro, just mostly photography.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that the intro actually matches with the episode, though, right? Because I think a couple episodes ago you were mentioning how these are just getting kind of out there and they're not really matching what the episode's about.
Yeah, some of them do get to the point where I just don't see the relevance, and to be honest with you, I just stopped caring. I'm just like, whatever, we'll just see him do what he wants to do, and if it's amusing, fine. But whether or not it ties into the episode is starting to mean less and less to me. But this one, it happens
Honestly,
to refer to the episode, so I'm okay with that too. Godden, what do you think?
I enjoy this a lot. I like the moment when he puts the camera in a selfie mode and he gets a fisheye lens of his face. So you get to see more details and how close up you are. So I thought it was really nice. But yeah, I always like those little side quest things he does. But yeah, I think it's been a while since we've had an intro that really lines up with the episode. So it was fun.
Well, that brings us to the opening panel, which is a man lying in bed, and he's there's a green, like some sort of a swampy hand coming at him. But then in the foreground, you see there's a couple of things that you see on here which I think are pretty important. There is a portrait of a woman. You don't see the woman, but you see a portrait of her, a picture, which goes in line with being a photo, which this is about a photographer, so that's important. But also, that's her. Like, that's her coming at him, and she no longer looks like that. So that's a great way to symbolize that, this is what she used to look like. But also, even below that, there's the what they smoked. Remember, they ended up smoking that whatever that was that turned them into this. And there's even that down in the ashtray. So I like how that's all tied in together there. Iron, you got any thoughts on this opening panel?
This is by far one of my favorite comic covers they did for this show. Just like the hand coming in, like all zombified. It's fantastic. Yeah, I think that they knocked it out of the park with this one. Some of the covers I kind of like, I don't really like them. I don't think they fit a lot with the episode, but this one fits it perfectly.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the Gremlins. The hand just really speaks to me in that way. But yeah, it's very simple. I mean, I think it's been a second since we saw where the characters look like the actors, or portrayed just like the actors when they're drawn in. So it's nice to see that again, where they're there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's simple. I like the colors, but it's not my favorite so far because in this season I have one that really stood out to me for the opening panel.
Yeah, and a couple of episodes ago we started talking about if you saw this cover in like a comic book store or for a movie poster, is this something that you'd actually want to pick up and read or actually go out of your way to watch? Is this something that speaks to you in that way?
Absolutely. 100%. I love horror comics. And if I saw this, I'd be like, yeah, I'm reading this.
Yeah. You see something deformed, right? You also see there's a little bit of sex going on, right? He's lying in bed with shirtless. There's a beautiful photo of a woman beside him. It definitely is intriguing in that way. All right, well, let's get ourselves to the recap, shall we? So we open up in an airplane. There's these. It's a warplane, so it's carrying all these soldiers, and the camera pans by all these soldiers. They're kind of just relaxing, but then we settle on Isaac and Dalton, and these two are our main characters. So Isaac is a young and up and coming photographer, war photographer, and Dalton is his mentor. And they're swapping photos back and forth. They're kind of, comparing photos. Dalton is impressed with Isaac's photos. He even says like, "Oh, wow, you got the mom and the child." I don't know if this is referring to them both being dead, like shot dead, or just kind of maybe running. I don't know what they just say that. So basically, so Isaac's taking some pretty impressive photos. then he looks at Dalton's photos, and Isaac says, "Oh, these are really nice." And Dalton's like, "No, these are bad. These aren't what I used to do." So already you're getting a sense that, okay, Dalton doesn't quite have what he used to have. Isaac has much more impressive photos. Shortly after that, Isaac invites Dalton over to his place for dinner and also to meet Bobbi, which is his girlfriend. Dalton doesn't really seem up to it up front. What do you think about this intro of this meeting of these characters in the plane here, Iron?
Yeah, I think there's some great parts in this, especially when it comes to like foreshadowing, because there's a part where Isaac mentions he always had sweet balsam, and he always sends some home to Bobbi. Everywhere he goes, he'll pick flowers and like herbs and stuff and send them home, and it's really excellent foreshadowing for later in the episode, which I think was really well done. And there's a pretty funny quote in this when like Isaac's basically he idolizes Dalton, like he thinks he's the best, right? Like he could do no wrong, and he's kind of fanboying over him, and Dalton's just like, I prefer to jerk myself off if you don't mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's such a nice guy, and later on as you get further into the episode, you realize just how truly nice and kind the Isaac character it really is.
Yeah, he's very selfless. I got that sense very, very early on. He's very, very selfless, and even partway through the episode when Dalton kind of gets angry with him and kind of starts yelling at him, instead of Isaac retaliating, he just kind of accepts, moves on, and then kind of just rushes past, doesn't really acknowledge the fact that, Dalton was just upset with him. He just kind of said, oh, maybe I was kind of, so yeah, he is such a really, really sweet guy. You're right about that. Godwin, what do you think about this introduction to the main characters?
Yeah, when I first saw this episode, I didn't know what was gonna happen because of the introduction to all like the soldiers and that you're just in a airplane. But the minute you see Steve Buscemi, I was like, oh my god, I wonder what's gonna happen. Is he the main character? I hope he doesn't die. I'm just like, oh, I don't want anything happening to him. But funny enough, now that you mentioned, I think I do remember you saying that it's Jason Statham, because I think I got offended. I'm like, that is not Jason Statham. Come on, that guy's way too old to be Jason Statham in the '90s. Like that doesn't make sense.
No, you're absolutely right.
You were so hooked on the hair.
Yeah, if you think about what makes sense, you're right. But it looks like Jason Statham.
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. One cool thing I wanted to mention about Steve Buscemi is he's actually, if you count Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, he's actually, I think he might be the only actor that's been in Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, and Monsters, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, Tales from the Dark Side, he was in the first episode, right? The one with the mummy.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, he's in the Mummy episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was the first episode. Yeah, he was in that one. And he played kind of the like he controlled a mummy and he kind of brought it back to life and had it kill all of his friends or colleagues or something like that. I think that's kind of what he did.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, also, I'm glad that you mentioned that, Iron, that he sends flowers home to his girlfriend. Like he's literally sending her flowers wherever he is in the world. So I thought that was a nice way to show his gesture, that no matter where he is in the world, he always has time to stop and smell the flowers, even in a war zone, and to send some home to his girlfriend. I thought it was a beautiful way of kind of presenting that. I'm glad that you touched on that. And not to mention it's foreshadowing. Next scene is we're in an office, and Dalton is talking with Randolph, his boss. And he's showing him his war photos, and Randolph is not impressed. He says, you're not like you used to be. Have you seen those photos of from Isaac? He's as good as you 20 years ago. So he basically sends him back out into the field. He says, you go back out there and you bring me back some photos that will break my heart in two. And just before he walks out, he says, oh, and bring Isaac with you. So not only is Dalton questioning his own photos today, but so is Randolph, his own boss. So his boss is also not impressed with him. So Isaac is no good anymore. He knows he's not good anymore, and so does his boss. But his boss does want him to bring Isaac, because Isaac clearly has that vision or that just I guess a better eye for capturing the beauty of war in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, what'd you think? Iron, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned too, like because later on we get to part 2 where Bobby's basically saying like Isaac captures, the beauty and everything horrific, all the horrific stuff, right? So he's definitely got like a gift for this, and you could tell that Dalton he's kind of got the semblance of a plan, like he needs to get Isaac out of here, but he's not really sure how he's going to do it, and that doesn't come to fruition obviously until later on when he finds out about the village, because right now he needs to get rid of Isaac. He knows he does, but he doesn't really have a way to do it, right? Because Isaac's so well liked, and no one's really going to take his side over it. So
yeah, Godden, what do you think?
I was a little confused on the timing, or I guess the timeline from the first scene, because I don't know if this is like right after that tour or this is maybe years later. So I was a little confused by that because maybe he's just showing his skills further, just getting worse. But I kind of just accepted like maybe this is literally just the same year, like later on. But for that moment, I just was lost. But it was kind of funny hearing more of what's his name, Dalton's like how he converses with other people. Like he's just so kind of rough around the edge still. He's kind of rude sometimes, but I don't know. I guess this is just like to see how he's always been compared. Maybe he doesn't want to fully admit that he is getting worse. So just hearing like another person like praise Isaac, who is his protege, kind of like eats at him a little bit. So it's kind of seeing how this would fully form out as the episode rolled out. So
yeah, and I did take it as, and Tales from the Crypt is notorious for this, like not giving you a real distinct timeline. But I just took this as like, oh, maybe it's like that night, right? He gets back, they land, he goes right to the office to give the photos, and then that night I just imagined it was really close in proximity with time. Did you get any sense that there was any more or less time that passed, Iron?
No, I think it was actually pretty soon afterwards, right? And this is also the scene where we find out that Dalton's heading out to like Central America with the guerrilla mercenary unit, right? And
yeah, that's when he tells them basically, you go out there and you bring me back some photos that'll break my heart in two. So he wants some real captivating, emotional pictures out of this war. Okay, so that night, I think it's that night. Again, Godden, we're not clear on the timing, but I took it as that night he actually goes to Isaac's place. So Dalton goes to Isaac's place. He knocks on the door. At first he thinks he has the wrong place because when Bobbi opens the door, it's this stunning, beautiful woman, and he doesn't think that a man like Isaac can get a woman like Bobbi. So. But of course, it's the right place. Isaac comes over, invites him in. He invites him in for dinner. Doesn't even ask why he's there. And that night, he actually invites Dalton to dance with Bobbi. This really speaks to me in terms, because the first time I watched this, I wasn't quite sure if Isaac was up to something. But in watching it again and having some time to think about it, it really makes me think of that quote: "When you're in love, you want to tell the world." I think Isaac is absolutely head over heels in love with Bobbi, and he wants to share her, not sexually. He just wants to share like her existence with other people. Like you dance with her. Now you dance. Like I just think he genuinely loves Bobbi, and I think he loves Dalton, and he just kind of wants to share and have them share an experience together. So Dalton goes over, starts dancing, and right away, you get kind of a smarmy vibe from him, kind of a gross vibe from Dalton. He says, you don't seem like the type of girl to be with a guy like Isaac, which automatically set me, off. She goes on to share a story. This is what you're talking about, Iron. She shares a story where they're off hiking. They find a dead possum, and Isaac actually managed to find the beauty in it. He was obsessed with the maggots crawling inside, and just the fact that something dead can bring something alive was beautiful to him. And he managed to, just have some sort of reverence for the whole cycle of life. And she found that to be his gift. She said, he finds a beauty in the most grotesque things. That's his gift. So that's kind of the setup with Bobbi and Isaac. Iron, what'd you think so far?
First of all, I just want to touch on the fact that this place has a lot of candles lit. Like there's candles lit everywhere in this apartment, so they must really like their candles. But yeah, I wanted to like touch on what you were touching on a bit. In like when he offers Dalton to dance with Bobbi. I think he's just being a really sweet guy who just wants to do something nice for his friend, because he says it when Bobby's not really sure about it at first. She's kind of like, oh no, I don't think this is a good idea. He's like, come on, he hasn't danced with a woman in months or something like that, right? So he just really wants to be, do something nice for a guy who he looks up to, a guy he considers his friend. And yeah, and then when Dalton starts dancing with her, he's a complete perv. Like, he's just, and also not only that, he's also, oh wow, a guy like Isaac, how's he doing with a girl like you? Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, Isaac's got a great personality. Like, we're seeing it on display. So, I mean, just because he looks different, like, come on.
Hey, Steve Buscemi is not a terrible looking guy either. He's a younger, handsome guy in this particular. I just think maybe it's his personality. He's a little quirky.
Yeah, well, that comes through in the episode too. Yeah, where he's kind of, I don't want to say childlike, but he's very naive, right?
Naive,
like
yeah.
He doesn't really see that Dalton kind of despises him. He just keeps thinking like, oh, this guy, I love him, so he probably loves me back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not that case at all.
Yeah, Godden, what do you think of this scene?
Yeah, it's just Steve Buscemi being drunk. So I think it's what you said. Like, if he's in love, he just wants to share with the world. So it was just kind of innocent. But I think I was with you with your first feelings where maybe he's up to something. But he just went to the restroom. You hear the flush and he comes back out with a bottle in the hands. He definitely is just drunk and just having a good time. So I thought nothing of it, but I was a little worried that maybe Bobbi was going to try and do something. But yeah, it just seems a little like forced awkwardness in a way. But nothing rude about it. It's just like, yeah, Isaac's just having a time, so he just thought it would just been a good show of heart, I guess. So it's a sweet moment.
Yeah. Well, that night, Dalton, sleeping on the couch, overhears Isaac and Bobbi going at it in the bedroom. So he sneaks up, and the door is kind of propped open. So I thought, oh, now they're really up to something. Like, they're trying to invite him in some way, right? So he kind of stares from outside, and Isaac doesn't see him, but Bobbi does. And she almost has a look of like surprise on her face. She kind of covers herself up and turns around to stare at him, to stare back. And that kind of startles him to kind of back off. So I did get the impression that she didn't necessarily want him there. I just, like, I don't know. That's the impression I got. What do you think, Iron?
First of all, can somebody please put these candles out? They're still lit. They're going to bed and they're still lit. Anyway, he's a peeping Tom. Like, come on, really? You're gonna do this? He's obviously a pervert, right? So like, he's staring at her. He obviously wants her really bad, and yeah, it's just a weird, awkward scene. And Dalton's not endearing himself to anybody with doing this. And we already realize what happens to people in this show who aren't exactly great people. So
yeah. Godden, what do you think? Was she or they more or less inviting this peeping Tom, or do you think it was just he was kind of overstepping?
I think he was overstepping because the door was closed. It just wasn't locked, but that doesn't mean like automatically he's invited to, like, they're definitely just drunk. Maybe they just thought they were alone. That lapse in judgment, and just forgot to lock the door, knowing that a guest over. But I was like, yeah, he definitely overstepped by actually opening that door and checking what's happening. When you can just kind of infer that they're definitely having sex or something. Like, he's on the couch and he can hear them kissing and having a good time. Like, why even bother getting up and doing that? If anything, knock and say, hey, I'm trying to sleep, or something lighthearted, but don't like put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's definitely in the wrong.
Yeah, he definitely wanted to look.
I agree with both of you, but at the setup, I was thinking that they might have been trying to invite him because of the fact that the door was kind of ajar. It wasn't just unlocked; it was a little bit ajar, and they were being so loud. So I did get the impression that maybe they were trying to invite, but then when I saw her reaction, I realized, oh, oops! Oops. So later, when they're finished, she comes out to have a smoke, and that's when she confronts Dalton. She says, you like to watch, don't you? She says, photographers, they watch while others do, which is basically calling him a voyeur, right? I like that line a lot. I really thought that was a poignant scene because of the fact that he was just watching, and he's also a photographer. Like I just thought it really summed him up really well. at this point, he continues to come on to her. Dalton does. He basically says, if you, right, like he's being very, like he's not very considerate of you, Isaac. What if something happens to him, right? He's going into war zones. If something happens to him, he won't come back home to you. What happens if he doesn't come back? And she says, if something happens to Isaac, basically, I would die too, right? Like I love him. And she goes on to say, Isaac worships you, and I worship Isaac. So it's this circle that the only reason Dalton is involved in this circle is because of Isaac's admiration for him. It's got nothing to do with any sort of romantic love. And that's exactly what Dalton wants out of this, is something romantic. It'll never happen because she doesn't want it, but he wants it. So I thought this was a kind of a precarious situation that's getting set up. What do you guys think of this? Iron, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this is another, like the last episode I was into, this is another rare circumstance where like the lady's not up to anything, right? Or like there's no kind of lovers quarrel or anything like that. Like Bobbi and Isaac, they're perfectly happy together. And, they don't want to ruin that or anything like that. She's not interested in Dalton. She does say he's very attractive, but she's not interested, right? This is also the part where, they're smoking together. And again, this is great foreshadowing for later, is, she goes, oh, I always smoke, especially after an intense fuck. That line gets me all the time. And he's like, well, I haven't smoked this shit since the Balkans, right? And, you see them like smoking together. And again, like that's something she uses against him later. And yeah, she says, I'd rather die myself than to think about, if Isaac never comes back. But again, this guy's he's such a gaslighting prick. Like, yeah, Isaac's going into war zones, but so are you. So like, what makes you that much better, right?
Yeah, I thought that too. Right? I mean, it's just, what would he do? Quit just to have her? Like, he probably would.
He probably would, yeah.
Godden, what do you think?
I enjoy the exchange of dialogue here. It's interesting to see how Dalton's true character kind of comes out a little bit, where he is getting a little envious of, Isaac, like the status, the girl and everything. So it's weird that he's just trying to like pry more. It's like, oh, well, what if that happens to him? What are you going to do? And like kind of hinting at like, maybe she should move on, and maybe he's there at that time and she takes him somehow because they're both photographers or whatever is that, made her attracted to Isaac initially, other than the goth store that she told him. So it's just funny to see like he's really pressing this, because in the first scene when he was invited for dinner, he even said, I don't need all that. I have all like these San Diego babes, waiting for me. So it's like, it's really, he just kind of had like that flip the minute he saw Bobbi. Like now he's just enamored by her, and just from the first glance. So
yeah,
I think that was bullshit.
Yeah, maybe.
Although
maybe,
I wonder though, because he is a good-looking guy, like Bobbi pointed out, and maybe he could get any girl, but I just think the fact that I think he sees Isaac as somebody who's so beneath him, and he resents him because he's a better photographer, or at least a photographer of the caliber that he used to be, and the fact that he can manage to get this banger of a girl, this knockout woman, I think infuriates him. I think he wants her just despite Isaac. I think there's almost like that resentment in there as well. Well, that brings us to the airplane. Isaac and Dalton are on their way back to the war zone to get more photos. And it's late at night, and Dalton is having a chat with a fellow, not a fellow, it's an actual, it's a general or some person, an actual in the army or of some sort. His name's Rock, by the way. So Rock shares that there's they need to get photos in this village. What's the name of the village again? You had said it before.
It's Vamalera.
Vamalera. There's they need to get some photos there, but he says don't go in there. If you go in there, you won't come out, because basically there was some germ warfare going on there, and all the people there have been eradicated. And if you go there, basically you'll get contaminated and you'll never make it back. So that's kind of the setup for the finale, or the setup for the twist, I suppose. Not even the twist. I don't know. It's a setup. So they get to the campsite, and this part's weird to me. Isaac asks to go to the village with Dalton, and Dalton says, "No, you're always trying to nip at my heels, right? Leave me alone. Like you can't." Like he gets mad at him basically. But then a little bit later, he comes back and basically says, "I'm sorry." you're right. You should go and you should take the photos. You could probably take better photos than me. So Dalton basically agrees to send Isaac to this suicide mission to go take these photos in a place that's been eradicated with germ warfare. My question is, why would Dalton protest this at first and then come around to it? That seems weird to me. It seems like Dalton should have been trying to, talk him into going instead of him or something. I don't know. I don't like the way that this kind of fell into place for Dalton. Iron, what do you think?
Well, I want to go back to the plane for a minute. So the guy he was talking to is like an old war buddy, and he basically mentions he says you go to Vamalera, you take your pictures, you don't come back. But I wanted to ask, did you recognize who Rock is?
No.
Well, you would recognize him because last time he was on Tales from the Crypt, he had a fire poker stuck in his head.
No way.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, that's the father from And All Through the House. That's Marshall Bell.
Oh my gosh, I did not notice that. Oh, that guy plays dead so good. He's probably the best dead actor I've ever seen.
So yeah, that's him. He's in another bit part here, but yeah, he tells him about the village and how it's strictly classified, and the government's kind of covering it up. But I also wanted to touch on what you just touched on, where Dalton's going to go with Isaac's going to go with the mercenaries, and Dalton's going to go to Vamalera. And then Isaac's like, well, why don't I come with you to Vamalera? And and my explanation for that is he's totally gaslighting him. Like, he wants him to feel bad about it, feel like, oh, you're always trying to come in and this is my one shot. You're trying to steal it again. He wants Isaac to feel bad about it so that later on when he goes back to Isaac and goes, you do it. And Isaac's like, oh, are you sure, man? Are you sure? He wants that power over him. I feel like he wants to be like, yeah, that's right. I'm letting you go. It's my choice. Right. And it's definitely 100% gaslighting for sure.
That's an interesting way to think about it. Yeah, that could be it as well. I guess it was more clunky to me. I was expecting him to just kind of be more desperate to get him to go, knowing what he knew. You know what I mean? Gordon, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Iron Sabbath on this. Yeah, it is where he went that manipulation tactic, because he could have just persuaded him. I feel like he would have just agreed. So yeah, you know what? I'll go do that one for you while you go hang out with the mercenaries. So yeah, maybe he just wanted to amp it up and make him feel really bad that he's trying to steal the spotlight, just at the end to flip it back to him, like, okay, you know what? Maybe you had the right idea. Maybe you should 100% go. I feel like it just would have worked both ways, but I think just to add the drama, they went with this route, because he worships him, right? He idolizes him, so it didn't really have to go to that kind of extent or the intensity either. So, which is kind of fun.
He's actually like very upset that Dalton's mad at him too. Like, you could see him like, no, I wasn't trying to do that. Like, he's really sad about it. And the other thing I wanted to touch on too is we kind of skipped over this, but one of the mercenaries, Salucci, he can't stand Dalton, and that comes into play later too.
Oh, I'm glad you noticed that, because the name does come up. I have the name in my notes, but I didn't know where that name came from. So is that established here?
Yeah, Salucci, you can see him giving Dalton attitude right away. He goes, Dalton Scott. He always takes photos of the war and makes it look glamorous. So, he's like, shut the fuck up, Salucci. Like, you could tell these two don't like each other.
I missed that part. Okay, good. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yeah. Remember that name, Salucci. Yeah. So, okay. Salucci sees through Dalton's bullcrap.
Remember.
Yeah. So that night, or I guess after their escapade to take these pictures, they get back, and he goes to his tent. Dalton goes to his tent, and there's Isaac, just fine. Hey, I got back. I took some of the photos. Thanks a lot. Everything was great. And it's like, okay, that was weird, but okay. So then they go to bed, and then Isaac like wakes up, and he says, it burns. And this is where the real main course of the episode begins. He's all starting to melt. He's got some weird goop coming out of his mouth. His chest is all exposed and kind of got these burns all over him. And he tries to give him some water. He just starts vomiting out this putrid disgust, and it's coming out of his mouth too. They must have had some sort of like a wire or hose or something going into his mouth to just projectile vomit all of this. It looked really convincing. This is just disgusting. And Dalton actually tells him, "You're starting to look like the house salad dressing on the side."
I love that line.
Yeah, he's starting to rub it into him. And Dalton actually admits to him. He says, "I'm going to take you, you're going to basically, right, you're dead. I'm going to take your photos. I'm making my big comeback. And I'm even going to take care of that sweet girl of yours." And while all this is going on, Isaac is just falling apart. His eyeball at one point just falls off of his face.
Oh.
It was just disgusting. What do you think of this this whole setup here, Iron?
Yeah. So when Dalton comes back and he sees Isaac, there's another really important part that should be touched on as well. Is when he's kind of like telling Dalton about it and how shocking and kind of beautiful it was to him. But he was actually writing Bobbi a postcard about it. And if you remember earlier in the episode, he says everywhere he goes, he sends Bobbi a postcard with something attached to it. Right? So again, later on, that might come into play. And then, we get into the most horrific, gory scene in this entire show where Isaac is just melting in front of our eyes, and there's some really great effects you can see, like in his body, where like you can see like parts of his body kind of like bubbling and like bursting, and I don't know how they did it, but it's incredible. And the line that he says where he looks like the house salad, and there's so many great ones in that. Like he goes, what's the other one he says? He goes, "Oh, there goes that wonderful eye of yours," when he puts his cigarette puts his cigarette butt out in it. Like, what an asshole, right? And look, before he leaves, he's like, "You're starting to go a little ripe." Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, what else can I say? Like this, Kenny, are you not entertained? This whole time we've heard you go, "Oh, I want some more gore." Well, here's some gore for you, and then some.
I love it.
Honestly, like. It's so incredible, and just see the eye falling out. Like that's the part that just like the effects in this episode are second to none. Like I cannot believe the work they put into this, and I can't imagine how much like makeup work Steve Buscemi had to sit there for this, because I mean this is intense stuff.
Yeah, and you're right. It's a lot of just practical effects on full display here. Everything looks fantastic. Like every time the camera goes somewhere else and then comes back to Steve Buscemi, he's in new makeup.
He's worse.
Yeah. So
he's way worse.
Like imagine how many hours he'd spend in that chair getting makeup, and then to only be in a scene of like 10, 15 seconds, and then when the camera goes to somewhere else and comes back, he looks different. Now his eye's falling out. Now now the side of his face is bubbling, like you had said. So. It's amazing. It's some amazing practical effects.
Poor Godden, because he was hoping Steve Buscemi didn't get killed. He gets the worst death of the entire show.
And that's another thing to touch on too is Steve Buscemi's performance during all of this. He's just like, "Oh God, it's
amazing."
Like he's in
amazing.
pain. He's in agony. Yeah. Godden, what'd you think?
Yeah.
It was interesting when Dalton comes back, and then he's kind of shocked that Isaac's actually there. And then, Isaac's like somewhat rubbing in his face, like not on purpose, just saying, "Oh, you could have taken some good shots too. Like it was amazing out there. You could have probably, had to come back in that sense." And I guess, you kind of feel Dalton's like emotions there for a second, because he's just kind of, he doesn't know why he's back. He's just kind of in awe. And then after the whole exchange of dialogue that they're going to bed, he just doesn't know what to do anymore, because then he's like, maybe he should just went and just took the pictures himself if he would have been fine. And in that minute, like, maybe like 5 minutes of them going to bed, then he hears him screaming. That's when I think Dalton like got really fired. Like, yes, it actually worked out. He's actually dying, and I can get rid of him and take all the credit. So it was very interesting, like how his emotions just like really flipped, because he wasn't getting what he wanted, I guess, at the moment. So he was like more excited that he's dying, and he's just more mean about it too, and just start hitting all like these one-liners. Yeah. And the cigarette to the eyeball, like that really like showed his true nature, his character. Like, because to me, from that point, like Isaac, he likes to preserve life in that way when he takes these photographs. But Dalton, him putting that cigarette in the eyeball, I feel like he just wants the worst of the worst, just because it's like a shock factor more than finding like the soul of it, So there's like a whole what's called like they're on either end of the spectrum when it comes to having the
That's a good point.
For
I like that a lot. I
photography.
like that angle.
Yeah.
Like here's somebody dying in front of him, and rather than treat it with some sort of reverence or respect, or appreciation, he discards it and insults it and puts cigarettes out on it. He treats it like trash. And this is somebody who, he had called a friend. So that does speak to his character tremendously.
Sorry, the worst part about it too is when it first starts happening, he's like, "Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get you to the hospital. They'll take care of you." And then he turns on him. He goes, "You know what? You look like shit." And I wanted to bring up too, before Isaac goes to bed, right? He goes, "War might be hell, but it sure makes you sleep good, right?" And then it's like, well, does he know that's the last sleep he's ever getting?
Yeah. And I like there's a little bit of delay of gratification for Dalton, because at first he does see that, he just came back? Like it was nothing? So I do like that too. Okay. Well, the next morning, they're outside. And I think, is this also where, what's his name, calls out Dalton? He says, "You're the one who sent him in there, right? You were supposed to go there, but you sent him instead. And now he's in there dying." God, that was what's his face.
Lucci.
Was that him who said that again?
Yep.
Same. Okay.
He's basically like, isn't it ironic that all of a sudden he's sick and you were supposed to go there, but he went instead, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what happened. So this is where Isaac walks out. He's like full zombie mode here. He's like walking out, melting, and Dalton grabs a gun and just shoots him dead, and basically says, "We had to." Right? He was. I think at this point, that's probably the best thing you could do for Isaac, as sad as it is. He was completely suffering. So I think that might have been the best thing to do for him, but that's not how Dalton was seeing it at the time. Dalton absolutely wanted to just discard him as quick as possible. Any thoughts about this last thing? Because this is it. We are at war. After this, we go back home. Any other last thoughts about this?
Well, God's going to be happy because we get a machine gun firing, or like an assault rifle firing off, right?
Yeah, what kind of gun was that gun?
Tell us.
I didn't get a quite good look, but I think they just use a stereotypical M16 because it's like Central America. It's reminiscent of like Vietnam, like wartime. So I think that's what they use. But it was a quick moment because I was more caught up at the time where he shot Isaac, because it seemed like Isaac was about to speak out on what happened.
Yes, thank you.
And then he shot him. It's like, "Oh, well, yeah, he was contaminated. I didn't want us to get, contaminated." Like, well, I guess, that makes sense. Like, he got away with it again.
I'm so glad Gordon brought that up, because if you listen very closely, you can hear him go, "Dalton," like he's going to say Dalton's name and he's pointing at him. And that's what freaks Dalton out and makes him shoot him, because he's worried that he's going to get busted, basically, right?
Oh, interesting.
But I do want to say why I love this scene so much is, as you know, like, I love the EC comics these are based on. And Steve Buscemi in this scene, I don't know if it's still him, but all the makeup applied and everything looks straight out of an EC comic. Like his body rotting and being like a walking corpse. That's what EC was known for. So that kind of thing, I think, was kind of like an homage to the comics, is like to make him look like that.
Oh yeah, he looked very comic booky, very Swamp Thingy as he was walking out, like that. So the next scene, we are back at Randolph's office, Dalton's boss, and basically he's saying, "You got it back. You got it back, Dalton. These pictures are great." So he pulled the wool over Randolph's eyes. He fooled him into thinking these are his photos, and basically he's back. He's back, baby, as Bender would say.
What a piece of shit. Listen. This not only are you, like, you just saw Steve Buscemi, Isaac's character, die. He was the nicest guy in the entire show. It literally makes you angry. Like, this guy did nothing to you. He was nice to you the entire time. He brought you home. He fed you. He gave you room and board. He introduced you to his wife. He let you dance with his wife. He's done nothing but be nice to you, and this is how you fucking repay him.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's the most insulting thing, and you're so angry about it. And it really, like, it makes you emotional. And I think that's why I love it so much, is because Dalton doesn't give a care in the world about it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm back on top, whatever." Yeah, you're back on top. At what cost?
Yeah.
Murder.
Gotten any thoughts before we move on?
No, at this point I'm just kind of waiting to see how Dalton, pays for his sins, because realistically, it was kind of coming up to that point where it gets its comeuppance in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And just thinking back, like this could have just went out in a more wholesome direction. I'm sure Isaac would have given him the credit for a photo he took. He would have
He's going
cared.
to. He was
He would
going
have
to.
100%. He didn't care. Whatever got Dalton back, he would have assisted.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's crazy that Dalton went out of his way to kill him. But maybe it's just the motivation to get his wife. Maybe that's the main reason.
Yeah, and that's the thing of it. That's the thing of it, is if Dalton had just said, okay, I took credit for his photos, I'm done, right? I got it. And just walked away. That could have been the end of it. He could have been fine. But it's the fact that he also wants Bobbi. So he goes back to Isaac's place and basically starts to swoon Bobbi, right? They have dinner together. And Bobbi asks, obviously she's very torn up. She says, did he suffer? And he says, no, he went very peacefully, which of course is a lie from the get, right? The guy was suffering from, suffering for like 12 hours. So at this point, Bobbi confronts Dalton about a postcard that she received. And this is where that Salucci comes in. I'm glad that you mentioned it because I didn't pick up on this. She says, I got a postcard and it says that you sent Isaac into the village knowing that he'd get sick, that he took the photos. And after he got sick, you shot him. And she makes a point to say the letter comes from Dominic Salucci. So that I wrote the name down, but I didn't realize it was that. So thank you. But then she follows up with saying, I don't believe it. You loved him. And he says, yeah, I loved him like a brother. And then before we go to the next scene, I just wanted to check in with you guys about this scene here. Iron, what'd you think?
Well, first of all, the candles are lit again.
Oh yeah, this is definitely candles.
Yeah, when she's like, it's weird that you get a postcard, and it's a dead man, and she's going on about how she wasn't really sure how to react to that, and it totally lies to her saying they went peacefully, and that's the whole reason I mentioned Salucci too, is because if you're really not paying attention to the episode, you're kind of like, well, how did she find out about this, right? Because Salucci is the one that was the mercenary that can't stand Dalton, and it makes sense that he would let her know. And funnily enough, Isaac, when he was sending the postcard out, he's like, I gotta get Salucci because he's the one that sends the mail out. So he was the one that sent the mail out. So that's probably when he slipped in to be like, hey, I'm slipping this too, right? And this is also the part where Bobbi kind of smokes with him too, right? Which is also very important. She smokes with him again, and it might not be natural ganja. Let's just say as much as that.
Gordon, what do you think about this whole setup?
Like I said, I'm just like counting the seconds. Like, how's he gonna die? He better die now, or let him get his comeuppance. Because I'm like that's just so. My Steve Buscemi died. Like I was just I just wanted it to end at this point. I need to know how it ends.
Yeah.
Also, you know what show we're watching? Bad guys always get what they deserve in this show.
Yeah, I know.
So that brings us to the love scene. Dalton finally gets what he wants, which is to sleep with Bobbi in Isaac's bed, mind you. So they're sleeping together, and that's where Bobbi confides that she knows that Isaac took those photos, and she says, whatever he had, we've now got. Basically, he sent back what you had mentioned, the some of the herb, and whatever they smoked is what he had. So you see another transformation scene from her, right?
Oh my God.
And I love how you actually see like it tracing through her veins as she becomes infected. She becomes basically melts right on top of him, right? He runs out horrified, and he runs to see that he's covered in blood. He looks in the mirror and sees that his nose had fallen off. So he's gonna go the way Isaac went, and nobody will be there to take him out of his misery. So he's got to live with it until the very, very end. Iron, what'd you think?
Oh my God, this scene is incredible. Like when you see the back of Bobbi and like her skin just starts going up and you see the blood like kind of ooze out, right? And he actually says to her, he goes, but we'll die. And she says a line earlier He goes, remember when Dalton, she's like, we all have to make sacrifices. And she says it again. We all have to make sacrifices. And she just bleeds all over him. And oh my God, it's so disgusting. It's so great. And, and like I said, hey, you can't be an asshole in this show and not expect to get your just desserts. And Dalton gets his just desserts. Unfortunately, at the, we lost Steve Buscemi and he had to die too. But I mean, no one survives this episode of the main characters, right? That's another rare kind of thing. Is every main character in this episode bites the dust in one way or another.
Yeah, and it doesn't involve anything supernatural like Steve Buscemi coming back or something like that. Something weird. So I did appreciate that as well. Godden, what do you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed the ending. It was very like grotesque. It was just so raw. That's just how everything was just going down with her dying on top of him. Like that's just like that's so traumatic. Like to even put that in perspective. Like I mean, I'm glad that happened that way, but dang, I would hate for anyone to go through that. Even Dalton, even though he's a piece of shit. It's just like that's so like surreal to go through. Like I don't know. It's a really good. It's so well done. Honestly, every little thing about that scene was just beautiful. So
yeah. I was a little like, so was she lying to him when she said she doesn't believe that letter from Salucci? Or
he was playing him 100%.
Okay. I got the sense that it wasn't that she didn't believe it until she saw his photos, because she says, "I saw his photos. I know you killed my Isaac." So I wonder. That made me think that I wonder if she didn't believe it until she actually saw the photos that he had taken.
I think it was a ruse to get him in bed with her.
Yeah.
Because that was how she was gonna kill him. True, but I think she really wanted to lay it in there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. If it happened that way, I'm okay with that. But also, I like to think of it as her sealing his fate by finally seeing his photos and realizing, oh, these are photos these are Isaac's photos. Well, that brings us back to the Crypt Keeper, who at this point is now taking pictures of a skeleton model. He says, "Now that's what I call romance. Boy gets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl and goes to pieces over her. You'll be pleased to know, kiddies, that things turned out pretty well for Bobbi. She got herself a job and started modeling for Victoria's Secret." He goes to take a picture of her. He says, "Beautiful. Tilt your head a little more, a little more, a little more," and then it falls back. I like that part too. So I did like the outro. I thought it was kind of cute with the model there. Iron, any thoughts?
Yeah, this was fun. I love this one so much. Just like again playing into the episode, right, with the photography thing, and yeah, when he's telling her to lean her head back a little more, that he's not satisfied until her head's fallen off. I like it.
Yeah, and I enjoy this little side of the Crypt Keeper when he just really amps up his like silliness, because usually it just ends with him like cackling about a joke, but this one he's like really like having more fun with what he's doing. So I like when he enjoys his little side quest and shares with us that he's like having fun. So
yeah. When it comes to shows or movies or whatnot depicting somebody sending somebody away to go do something to actually kill them, it does make me think of Lion King. I think of Scar sending Simba, right, to go wait, or to go basically go give him a task to do somewhere else where he knows that he's going to end up being killed. So can you think of anything else that kind of does something like that, where a main character sends somebody else away to their death without them knowing?
Honestly, off the top of my head, no. But I mean, it's a pretty big trope for a lot of things. I mean, there might even be some episodes of this show where that happens. I mean, there actually probably definitely is.
Loosely, kind of, I think Lord Farquaad is interesting in this way. Lord Farquaad is sending people off to their death, but not because he hates them or is he's just scared. He doesn't want to go do it himself. So it's kind of adjacent, but not quite the same thing. The whole atmosphere of just being in the jungle during wartime makes me think of the Vietnam War, obviously, and my mind goes to Forrest Gump whenever I see something like that. It goes right to Forrest Gump. There's also that, what is that Stanley Kubrick one? Me Love You Long Time. What the hell is that one called?
Full Metal Jacket.
Thank you. Full Metal Jacket. Think of that one too. So, and what about movies depicting chemical or germ warfare? My mind goes to The Rock. They had chemical warfare in there, and that was actually, I like what they did with that one too. Anything else that you can think of with chemical warfare or germ warfare?
Yeah, there's kind of like Outbreak, but that's like more of like a disease that kind of ravages everyone, right? Rather than germ warfare.
I like that one too, though. That's a great example. Outbreak.
There's too many. Like, there's like the Mission Impossibles. You can just take your pick. There's like a lot of spy movies. Like they always touch on chemical warfare and always stopping nuclear missiles and whatnot. So it's hard to like really just sit here and name them because so many come to mind. But yeah, I think it's Mission Impossible too. I think they do that, but it's fun.
Yeah. Well, that is going to bring us to ratings. Let's actually dig in and rate this. Now, I'm going to save my rating for last because I feel a little targeted right now. We'll start with Iron. Iron, what do you think you want to give this?
Well, I want to start by saying when I first watched this episode, I remember being way too young to watch it, first of all. Way, way too young to watch it. And it was on TV, and I distinctly remember the scene where Ike starts melting. And that whole scene stuck with me for as long as I could remember. And season 5 is actually the first set I bought on DVD. And the big reason for it was because of so many episodes I remember watching when I was younger, and they like seared into my brain, and I could not get them out of my head. This was one of them. There's one coming up later, episode 5, and then I believe episode 10. Season 5 has like been my favorite for as long as I could remember. A lot of it has to do with the fact that, again, like I mentioned, these stuck with me. Like, these are ones that I remember being terrified by, and I remember hiding when I saw that scene of Isaac melting. Like, I was a kid at the time. I was not used to seeing stuff like that, and this episode has a lot. I think it has everything that makes a great Tales from the Crypt episode. You got your sex, obviously. You got your gore, which Kenny loves. You got your guns, which Godden loves. You got your horrible, your horrible people getting what they deserve. You got a fantastic twist ending. You got just some fantastic, phenomenal special effects. And before I get to my rating, I want to bring this up because I thought this was funny. There's a book called Tales from the Crypt, The Official Archives. And it's by Digby Deal. And in it, they say that this episode is the goriest episode of the entire show. And I mean, how can you disagree with that after what you just witnessed, right? Listen, do I really have to go on more and more? This is my favorite episode of the entire show. I love it to bits. Every time I watch it, I'm always enthralled by it. I mean, obviously I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. And I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 eyeball ashtrays.
Eyeball ashtrays, nice. Godden, how about you?
I have a couple arguments just to state about your guys' comments earlier. I think it's not the gore. I mean, it can't be the goriest one. Like the split personality is pretty gory because you get to see all the insides. You get to see like half of it, and that's pretty gory. Because like for this one, it's just his outside that's like all pussy and like popping, and it's not like it's. I don't know. I guess for me, gore would just have to be more guts and more blood. But this one isn't as gutsy and bloody. I mean, her death then had a little more blood in it, but I don't agree that it is the goriest episode. There's some contenders out there that I think that can take the spot, and I'll argue for Kenny. Him saying there's no comedy. I mean, there's Steve Buscemi. I think he is the levity for the episode. He is the walking comedian for this. So, but I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Realistically, I don't want to give it a 5 at the moment because I do want to see the rest of the season, and I do want to see what can be like either my honoraries or me changing it up later in the down the line. So for now, I'll just give it a nice little 4.5 joints because it's such a good episode. Honestly, I'd rewatch it again and again. So
okay, 4.5 joints. Yeah, I'm I am bringing my score up from where I thought I would be at the beginning of this podcast. When I started this podcast, I really was closer to like 4, maybe 4.25. I was kind of around that area. I'm telling you, I didn't realize it until just about now, but how much comedy means to me, how much that slapstick means to me in a Tales from the Crypt episode. They just make it that much more fun to watch. The gore is impressive. I'm thoroughly impressed by the gore, and I could just watch that scene of him in the tent again and again. But as a full narrative, I feel it is a little wearing for me without that levity in there. And Godden, I hear what you're saying about Steve Buscemi bringing it with comedy. It's not enough for me. It's not enough slapstick for me. I'm going to go with, I'm going to match Godden and go with a 4.5. 4.5 what though? That's my question. 4.5. You took the eyeballs. Oh, you son of a gun. I like the eyeballs one. I'm going to go with, how about 4.5 lit candles in an apartment?
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Those were everywhere in that episode.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of them. I'm glad that you touched on that because it's something that I noticed, but it's just not something that I really paid enough attention to actually write it down. So I'm glad you brought that up. This is still a strong episode. Don't think that a 4.5 from me and Godden is us putting our noses up at this episode. This is a phenomenal episode. It is very, I mean, this is top tier gore. Whether or not you think it's the goriest episode of the season, it's top tier. It doesn't get much better than this. It's amazing. It's an amazing episode. Very, very good episode. Great episode for you to be part of, Iron. I'm really glad that you're picking these knockouts to be part of. We've got to knock you down a peg. We got to get you in on a real crappy episode coming up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what my 2 least favorite are from season 6.
All right. For Horrorspondents, we are trying something new with Horrorspondents. I want you guys, if you're interested, to click on the link down below to SpeakPipe and leave us a voicemail. I want to experiment with this. So by the next episode, hopefully we'll have gotten some voice Horrorspondents. So yeah, click on that SpeakPipe down there, leave us a voicemail, and we'll play it right here on the podcast. You don't need anything but a username. You just make the name up when you click on record. So you could just call yourself your actual name or the name of your YouTube profile, however you want to do it. You don't have to use your real name if you don't want to. And I disabled having to use your email. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me in the butt. I'm worried about spam and that kind of stuff. But as of right now, you don't even need to email to send us anything. So yeah, send us your voicemails and we'll play them right here on the air. So yeah, use that link down there and show us some love. That brings us to shoutouts. I want to shine the light back out into the horror community. And I have a big one today. We've got a big one right now. Iron Sabbath, you just started posting some videos on YouTube. I want you to share about that and see if we can get some people directed towards you and your channel.
Yeah, I it's nothing serious. Like I just, just me, yapping away about stuff I love, mostly anthology stuff. I have a little series I'm starting called Anthologically Trained, where I just yap away about anthologies. Right now, I have my top 5 underrated Tales from the Crypt episodes, which unfortunately I don't want Godden or Kenny to watch because most of them they haven't even got to yet. But I also have the Creep Show, the Shudder series. I've ranked basically made a tier list of seasons 1 and 2 in one video and seasons 3 and 4 in another video. And yeah, it's just something for fun I wanted to do. I'm not really skilled at the video editing thing yet, but I just like talking about it and figured why not just start talking about it.
I'm really glad that you're doing this, Iron. You are so knowledgeable in this show, and I love having you on as a guest because of your just what the amount of knowledge you can bring to the table. So I'm really glad that you're doing something like this. And when it comes to video editing and the real, state of the art transitions and this and that, as long as you're just sharing ideas and it's something that somebody else wants to hear, if it's an idea worth sharing and listening to, it doesn't matter how you get it. And you don't need all that flashy editing to make it look nice, to make your ideas that much more significant. So I'm glad you're doing something like this. I know you've got some wonderful ideas and some stuff to share. So it's out there. I want you guys to show Iron Sabbath some love. Use the link in the description down below to get yourself to his website, to his YouTube channel, and check out his videos. He's got a lot of information up there about anthologies and Tales from the Crypt. So if you enjoy this podcast, I think you owe it to yourself to go check out Iron Sabbath.
Thank you. Yeah, I got more coming down the pipe too, and I also wanted to give a shout out to somebody who's really helped me on YouTube. He's always, pointing me out and kind of plugging my videos, and he's a great guy. He talks about horror a lot. Grande's Graveyard. Go check him out. Give him a like. Give him a subscription. He streams every Thursday. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to horror movies. Very nice guy. If you go into his chat and talk with him, he'll respond to you immediately. Like, he loves interacting with his chat. So Grande's Graveyard, give him a look.
And with that, we got one more shout out, and that is to the Cryptique podcast. So my name's Kenny, and I can be found at Too Bad About Kenny. That's TOO Bad About Kenny, as well as the number 2 Bad About Kenny. I can be found on YouTube and on Twitch, reviewing movies, reviewing books, playing games. Go check those out. I also have started a second podcast on my main channel, Too Bad About Kenny, where I'm going through all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies with a good friend of mine. He has not seen all the movies, and I've only seen some of them just once. So it's the least watched horror franchise that I have experienced. So I'm going through and giving him another chance, and just kind of doing a similar setup to this, but with Nightmare on Elm Street. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. Okay, Godden, how about you?
Well, they can find me streaming at Twitch at UAPP06, but unfortunately the timing has not been in my favor. I've been focusing on school, so you'll probably just look at old clips. You won't see me live for a bit. And you can also follow us on Cryptikers at Twitter.
Yeah, Godden's going back to school. Godden, I'll brag for you. Godden's going back to school to get his master's. Isn't that amazing?
Good for you. Good for you.
That's amazing.
There was a meme I saw where they say for millennials, getting your master's is another form of grieving, because like, what's the point of getting your master's in this economy?
Also, RIP social life.
Yeah. Well, Godden, I'm really proud of you. So great job on getting yourself into school, and
congratulations.
Keep up with it. I say this off the air to Godden that you're a student first. So if push comes to shove and you really need a day off to focus on school, just let me know, and we can make the podcast kind of work around you for the time being. So yeah, we are all on Team Godden right now. Team Godden, get yourself through school. Get yourself that master's. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, if you want to follow along with what me and Godden have to offer, you want to like and subscribe and ring that bell notification to be notified next week when we're back here for Season 5, Episode 4, Food for Thought. And we here at the Cryptique Podcast hope you all had a great time, kiddies. And remember, wherever you may go, whatever you may seek, we'll all get together same time next week. Until then, sweet nightmares.
Well, how was that for a scream, boys and ghouls?